Okay, Sam, so Biomutant seems to be an absolute mess of a game, and yet you still can't stop playing it. Let's start with the story and how strange and weird that is.
Yeah, it's a very strange game in terms of tone, because the whole game is sort of set up as it's a little sort of mouse, cat, rabbit creature thing, a biomutant, like in the after effects of like the world being wiped out from like pollution and nuclear power and stuff like that. It sort of paints that sort of very serious backdrop, and everything is sort of told in like a storybook, like children's narrative kind of way. And a bit like Horizon Zero Dawn, like they've got like their own words for like human things. So like I wrote it down, like a guitar is a twing twang and a piano is a string plonk, and it's sort of like that sort of language against this sort of quite serious like look at the world is like the moment you start, you're like, what is this game? What is it trying to tell me? And you're sort of trying to save the world from the world eater creatures that are gnawing at the roots of the tree of life. So it's all sort of very confusing in terms of like, I don't really know like whether this is meant to be sort of like a cute playful adventure or something, you know, a more narrative on like the world. It's just very confusing from the off.
Visually as well, it's quite jarring, because on the one hand it's got like a cartoony effects come up with like phrases and stuff like kablowy.
Yeah, like comic book.
Yeah, but then on the other side there's a Fortnite kind of aesthetic to it slightly with the menus and stuff. But then on the other hand there's also Monster Hunter aesthetics with the way that it looks and the big monsters and stuff. So it just seems to be very jarring all over the place. And you said as well that there seems to be also the systems in the back end as well is also jarring and slightly maddening.
It's sort of like someone has gone like, oh, I like that element from that game and that element from that game, and I like that graphic choice, and then I sort of try to make one whole game out of it, and none of the systems are ever coherent. Like they're kind of fun in isolation. So it's like there is a morality system where you can like choose to go with the dark or the light, and initially like the game is set so you choose to side with one tribe or another. So I chose the evil tribe because I naturally gravitate towards being a good person in a game. So I was like, I'm gonna try and be evil for once. I can do it. I mean, I can't. But so like the evil tribe is like, you know, they just want to kill everyone and they want the world to burn. And it turns out you can actually sort of like, you know, sort of coax them back to the light and make everyone sort of harmonious. So it's like, well, okay, it's like, it didn't matter that I chose dark side. And then like the ending's really confusing. I won't spoil it for anyone, but like I've never been so infuriated by a game that just threw all of my decisions out the window. So and then like it's got crafting and sort of like a looter shooter sort of grind to it as well. So it's just all of these things coming together in a way that you're like, okay, well I can get better gear by exploring. I can also get better gear by crafting, but the crafting isn't ever very well explained. Although I do have a really cool toilet brush electric sword that I use, which again is like the weird juxtaposition of like, I'm using a toilet brush to kill this like giant creature who's trying to kill the world. So it's just such a mishmash. That is like the ultimate word for this game.
While this seems to be like a video game buffet of just picking your favourite bits, and there seems to be something in the back of your head that going, you shouldn't be doing this. This isn't allowed. This shouldn't work. And yet, you finished it. You got the bad ending that you've never been more angry at, and yet you're still playing.
There's something really alluring about the game's world. Like it's not a graphical extravaganza. You're not going to go, oh my god, this is, you know, screenshot central. But it does quite clever things with the world in that it sort of Metroidvanias a little bit. So you're like, oh, I need to go to that area, but it's covered in poison, or it's really, really hot, or it's cold. So you'll need to go find gear or like different clothing to try and protect you from those different elements. And then within those sort of areas, you'll find like, you know, a really cool weapon, or you'll find like a character that you need to interact with to sort of do the next bit, or it's got tons of collectibles as well, or not collectibles, but like side missions. So like I was saying earlier about like trying to find, you know, elements of sort of human worlds, like the piano and the guitar and stuff. They're all like little puzzles that unlock like even more information about, you know, what happened in the world. But again, like they're also really repetitive. So like the guitar, the piano, like all the other like little puzzles that you have to do, they are all about just realigning certain things, so a yellow and a white thing like align. So it doesn't matter whether it's like music on a page, a globe, a like electric puzzle. They're all the same mechanic, but with just a slightly different presentation every time, which is really weird. I feel really bad because the developer broke his back, which is why the game has been so delayed. So I feel bad for like criticizing it for being a sort of game that's kind of stuck in the past. It feels like it should have come out sort of cusp of PS3, PS4 generation in terms of like the graphics and some of the way that it deals with stuff. But then it does have this weird sort of compelling, and maybe it says more about me and the way I play games. Like I love to like completely sweep the map of like collectibles, and like if there's like a glowing point that I've got to explore, like I'm there. But again, it also has like really great boss fights, and you unlock like different mechanics and like a really cool mech suit and like a little jet ski, and like so there are really cool elements that are so rewarding when you actually find them. But like there are so many other things that kind of keep distracting you and going, I don't feel like this is working 100%. But again, I do want to see what I have to do to take the next world monster down. So it's just, I'm very confused.
This clearly isn't going to win any Game of the Year awards, but it has hooked you, and so it is clearly a good game for some people. So I think the best way to kind of like summarize it is, what would you suggest to the type of games that people like to play? Like if you liked this game, or this game, maybe give Biomutant a try.
I think it's kind of got the humour of like a Borderlands, but it's like, you know, sort of like the PG Borderlands. And it has got elements of like Monster Hunter, and also like I've been also playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla because the new DLC's come out, and that sort of like kind of relaxing like map mopping exploration. Like you haven't really got an agenda, but you'll just like go over there and see what you find. Like it's got that sort of like rewarding loop of just like, I'm just going to go for a stroll and see what I find. So it is kind of rewarding in that sense. So like I feel like it would actually appeal to quite a lot of gamers, just maybe not at the full price point. I think it's like £55 on Steam at the moment, so like $60, which for a game like this, like, you know, I've finished it after 30 hours, and that was doing like 90% of the world along the way. Yeah, I think if you could get it for like half the price, that's when this game would be like, yeah, it was an enjoyable little romp. It's just a really odd game. That's the problem, and like it's odd in good ways, but also really like head scratchy, what am I playing sort of ways.
It shows that you never know when a game's going to grab you, and I'm glad that you're still playing it, and I'm glad that you're getting some kind of enjoyment out of it, and it sounds like a really interesting game. It's going to be really interesting to see what people think of it. If you want to read the full review, sound review, it's going to be on the website. And yeah, I'm really interested to see what everybody else out in the gaming world thinks of it as well.
Yeah, please talk to me. I need someone to talk to about it.